Good morning and welcome to Raise Breakfast. Today, we come to you with hearts that are heavy but committed to truth. There's a quote that says, "Silence in the face of pain is itself a form of violence." And this morning, we refuse to be silent. Across part of our nations, Christian communities are grieving, from fresh abductions to brutal killings that leave families shattered and entire villages living in fear. These are not just headlines, they are human lives. And we owe them honesty, clarity, and much more compassion. So today we are opening a conversation that many avoid, but one that desperately needs light. We'll be speaking with a leader who stands right at the heart of this crisis. And together we will shift through the facts, the claims, and the reality on ground. And it's with that I say welcome to Raise Breakfast. Hashtag what are you saying? Let's get to meet my ladies this morning. Good morning, girls.
Hi, good morning. How are you doing?
You really want me to answer that sincerely?
Obviously, we can.
You really want me to answer? I even think that people have been complaining about the weather and people are having different illnesses, nasal congestion. I'm thinking that the state of the nation can even aggravate whatever you're feeling. Because, being whole is beyond your physical health. It's also your mental state. Because what do you mean you wake up in the morning, you're hearing of these killings, you're hearing of that. Before even these killings, of course, I'm going to read some statistics to show you how it's been for the year. I mean, we've also looked at sexual allegations, then killings, then terrorism, then insurgency. Just like the loop of negativity is.
Past few weeks.
Guys, at this point,
It's alarming. At this point, what I am even scared of is the fact that you can't even tell what you want to wake up to by the next day. The next morning, you are faced with something else. The next morning, somebody is saying something else, something is happening. So it's really, really sad, that we even get to talk about it today. I don't really know how I will be able to talk about this thing because this thing is very hurtful. Because, for example, for somebody like me that really goes on to, because this is where my family members are.
they live.
This is where my family members live. Like, anything can happen.
I was
and all
sorry
of that.
to cut you short.
It's not really personal to me.
I was looking at someone's post. I think some of these Nigerians that are in diaspora, they were saying that if you think Japa is the option, you're really deceiving yourself because you have family members. Can you travel with all your immediate and extended family? So it's at this point that we need urgent. This is not, we don't need first aid treatment here. Like, let's just patch something up, right? We need a long-term solution to this because these killings is doing much harm than we can even talk about
and to
here.
add to that, we're living in fear. We're living in fear. If it's not schools, in churches, where then are we free?
Oluchi, do you know what really got me angry? Last night I was venting. The person I was even venting to is wondering, like, why are you venting? Is the fact that this is also the period where we are seeing our political leaders playing around, joking around.
My sister, if we get to that banter, we can't leave this banter.
What is going on? Is it that
we have to really
move on
from this? Our viewers, I hope you're holding on to hope because at the end of the day, hope is our only option. Honestly, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll look through the papers this morning. We have 3 papers to evaluate: The Telegraph, The Daily Trust, and of course, The Guardian newspaper. So please stay with us. We'll be right back soon. Welcome back, our viewers. Thank you for joining us this morning on a show I'd actually term as one of our most sober episode ever, based on the current, trends in our society today. But right now, we want to take a look at the newspapers. And of course, we want to hear your thoughts on this as well. Our phone lines are open. Please call us on 070-2500-7749 or 0701-424-2420. And if you're yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel, it is an official Upgrade TV. Click the subscribe button, like, share the link, tune in to channel 145 on your GoTV and be part of the latest updates that we have for you every morning. Of course, we're starting with the Daily Trust, and Triumph will lead us on that.
All right, so let's take a look at what is making headlines in the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper. The stories that I have here are quite the sad stories, but I'm still going to read it, and we still have to talk about it because these are things that are happening to us, as a nation. And so the screaming headline: bandits abduct 30 in Kwara church attack. And Kebbi finally releases names of kidnapped schoolgirls. The names are here, and our heart really goes out to these people. I'm just going to be listing, some of the names that I am seeing here, from Mumini Abdulkarim in Ilorin, Ismail Adebayo, that's, Kebbi State, Muideen Olaniyi, Arono Ibrahim, Baba Martins, Luka Musa, and then Al-Mustafa Mustafa Abuja. These are some of the names of the people that have been abducted recently. This is very sad. This is a gory news. The fact that somebody's name is making the front page of newspaper, not even because of something great or something remarkable, but the fact that we cannot find this person. We do not even know when we are going to get this person. We do not even know the kind of urgent actions that has been taken to ensure that we are getting these people back. We're not even sure about the state that we are going to meet these persons by the time, maybe if we eventually get all of them back. We are hoping, we are praying that we are able to get all of them back. But we are not even sure of the state. The fact that this is something that this is not the first time is hitting our nation is really sad to me. I remember, the Chibok girls. I remember the state that some of those girls were coming back to, the ones that were, that they were able to release them at the end of the day. So seeing the names of these people really breaks my heart, and it's the same thing. This is what we are even starting with. It's the same thing for even my ladies here. So there are quite a number of those stories, and then let me move to some of the other stories that are here. We have a lot of sad stories. I don't really know how to hold my emotions back this morning. And then above that, I lost 30 shops in Gombe Market's Inferno. This is coming from Trader. To see the details, please see page 34 of the Daily Trust newspaper. And in respect to PDP crisis, police has, eventually barricade the secretariat. I saw it yesterday, they're using the barbed wire to barricade their secretariat. I don't even want to go there because... Anyways, and then to a story you'll find in page 34, which is a story that, as much as we are talking about sad things, I am glad that I am seeing this news. That's about the ISWAP leader that backed 20 years jail term, and that is really my story of interest, and that is where I am going to stop. Below the Daily Trust, I can see another story about death, so I'm just going to stop with this ISWAP leader and just talk briefly about it, so we can even be glad that maybe somebody has eventually been pinned down.
All right, thank you so much, Triumph. I'm sure our viewers can get the details from the Daily Trust. Let's move over to the Telegraph because we want to really be very fast with this newspaper segment. Our guest is waiting for us, and it's going to be a conversation that will open up the facts that many people are even oblivious to beyond what the papers have for us. So let's move over to the Telegraph, and I'd like our viewers to stay tuned.
All right, New Telegraph leads with the story of kidnappings, killings. Confront this evil before it consumes us all. Nigeria Labour Congress tells federal government, now this is a warning to the federal government to do something about the insecurity in our nations. We've seen cases of bandits attacking churches, killing pastors, and we just spoke about the abduction of the schoolgirls in KB. in Kwara State. In Kwara State. So the government should do something about this before it gets out of control. And above the headline, we see Atiku calling out the playing of political songs at the judges' conference. He says that it is unprofessional and biased. Next, we see Africa losing over $50 billion annually to illicit financial flow, says ICPC boss. In sports, the Confederation of African Football Awards, Nadoze Falcons shine as Hakimi crowned King of Africa. And next we see on the newspaper, Trump defends Saudi crown prince over Khashoggi killings. You can find more on the New Telegraph. Now below we see the story, federal government to resident doctors, suspend strike, 19 out of 20 demands addressed. Now this is my story of interest because, you know, hospitals have been under pressures, right? And you know, when something like this happens, it affects the hospitals nationwide. Now, the government is saying that they have resolved 19 out of 20 of the issues and asking the resident doctors to go back to work. Now, it's up to the resident doctors to come to an agreement with the government, and this will determine the next line of action. We also see on the newspaper, peanuts pension / gratuity, police retirees set to exit contributory pension scheme. And finally, this is a health-related story on the newspaper. Going to bed same time every night lowers blood pressure. And this is all on the New Telegraph.
Thank you so much. Honestly, it's the tone to which we're reading the papers this morning. It's the tone. I came across something. It's not in the papers, though. I saw it on someone's timeline. It says, within the last 72 hours, ISWAP admitted and posted a video of killing a 7 general. 25 school children were abducted in Kebbi. A priest and other community members were abducted in Kaduna. Terrorists killed 3 and kidnapped 64 people in Zamfara. Terrorists attacked a church in Kwara State and killed 5 people in about 72 hours. I'm like, we are going to survive. Right. Let's look through The Guardian as we wrap up this segment very quickly. The major headline reads, outrage over rising abduction attacks as army rallies 24,000 recruits. This seems like a response to what's going on. Let's just, I wish I could open it up much more, but you could find more details in page 6. Federal government, states and local governments share 2.09 trillion naira as October revenue. There are more stories that are just like follow-up to everything that we've been saying so far as regards insurgency. But the one that got my attention is President Tinubu's remark to this ongoing crisis that we're facing. So he said, The Guardian highlighted it in the papers proper, I'm depressed by abduction of 25 schoolgirls, the killing of the army general. This is from the president, dear president. And he said this on Wednesday, that he is depressed and he has these people in their prayers. Well, everyone is depressed, sir. Everyone at this point is feeling so scared. There's a lot of anxiety going on. And I don't know if I'm trying to be very careful with my words, right? But I do not know if this is just all we need to see. Because if you notice what has been happening since yesterday, celebrities, anybody that thinks of their nation in a good light as patriotic people, they're going about talking, they're posting. Everybody's making content about this, right? But do you know that sometimes when you make content or just give remarks about these things, you still really do not know the impact of it, especially if it has not hit you, if it does not hit close to home. So sometimes I wonder that when we even talk about things like this, the people that are at the forefront of this danger, how do they even feel? Do they just look at us like, oh, we are the ones you are using to discuss? So sometimes when I see people at the helm of affairs, the ones that are supposed to hold this thing with so much urgency, just saying, giving remarks, I feel like we need more than that. We need something that is concrete. I know you feel depressed. Many of us do. Many of us can't sleep at night. Many of us are praying. Churches are also having different crusades, praying for our brothers and sisters. But beyond that, what is the nation doing to ensure that we're secure? The Guardian highlighted that the army has rallied 24,000 recruits over this rising abduction. Okay, can we have more details on this? Who are we collaborating with? I think I saw a video of one aircraft landing in Sambisa and all that. See, if that is happening, we need current updates. Let's know what's going on.
Oluchi, what I just quickly want to add to what you said as regards the statement that was released by our president. It's so sad that we don't hear so much from our leaders in situations like this. And then when we are hearing from them, you're telling me you're depressed. You're not the only ones depressed. Give us details. Give us... Reassure Nigerians, reassure people, these people that are listening to you, the families of these people, what are you telling them? What are they hearing? Because so much can come from you that would even keep them at peace to an extent. So I'm just not
and
happy
then
about
it comes on the paper, oh, they are doing something about it, and then we're not seeing that effect happening. I mean, what are
Honestly,
they
it's a
actually
very,
doing?
very sad tale. Our topic today has been titled Alleged Christians Persecution. But today we want to look at the facts, the claims, and the reality on ground. And of course, we're going to be having this conversation with Reverend Joseph John Hayab, the chairman of the Northern Christian Association of Nigeria. So our audience, our viewers, you do not want to miss this conversation at all. If the current happenings in the country is of concern to you, you should be part of this conversation. And let's get to even know the realities on ground and what is expected, what we can even hope for. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're diving straight to this hot topic. Please stay tuned. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you for sticking with us. On the lips of everyone recently has to be the alleged Christian persecution. We want to uncover the facts, the claims, and even find out the reality on ground. In recent months, Nigeria has witnessed a chilling escalation in violence against Christian communities, not only in isolated incidents, but in a way that many see as part of a broader and deeply alarming pattern. According to a report by Inter-Society, in just 76 days, over 100 Christians were killed and approximately 120 others abducted. In the first 7 months of 2025 alone, more than 7,000 Christians were reportedly killed, with an additional 7,800 abducted, according to the same watchdog. And among the most tragic of these is the Yelawata massacre, where between 100 and 200 Christian villagers were killed and some 3,000 displaced, according to multiple reports. In southern Kaduna, the killing of clergy is particularly stark. Reverend Father Sylvester Okechukwu was abducted in March 2025 and later found dead, sparking outrage in Christian circles. And these are not just off acts of criminality. For many, they carry the weight of a systemic and sustained campaign. And it's really alarming. So we're going to be having this conversation with Reverend Hayab Joseph John. He is the chairman of the Northern Christian Association of Nigeria and the country director, Global Peace Foundation of Nigeria. Good morning, Reverend.
Thank you for having me, and good morning to you in the
to
studio
you.
and all our viewers.
Thank you.
Good morning.
I'll firstly start by saying thank you for that smile that you gave us this morning, because in the studio here, I've been trying my best to put up a smile, because honestly, with the current situation, you're wondering what smile can you actually give, but I'm seeing a smile regardless on your face, and I think that alone already speaks of hope, speaks of the fact that you are holding on very strong. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's even get straight into the conversation. Given the surge in the killings and abductions, this is already like a broken record. We've been saying this over and over. New details coming up every day. I want to ask you, how do you personally define what is happening? Do you see it as primarily religious persecution, or is it more a symptom of a wider security collapse?
Yeah, thank you very much. Let me begin by saying, as a Christian, the Bible enjoins me to rejoice always.
Yeah.
And so, even in difficult situations, in moments of pain, I should find reasons to rejoice. If I don't rejoice because I have salvation, I have to rejoice because I'm alive.
Yes, sir.
A few days ago, myself and my wife went to a hospital to assist a brother. He was in a painful situation. It took us almost 2 hours trying to just get the doctor to write a paper for him to be referred to another hospital. And when I just looked at all that was happening, I said, God, if I don't thank you that I'm healthy, if I don't thank you that I'm alive, then I have nothing again to say. So when you look at things happening around you, you need to thank God. The history behind Christians' persecutions or killings in northern Nigeria is not new. It's an old thing. It's just sad that when this issue came up recently, instead of us facing the reality, talking about the truth of what is happening, we chose to be beating around the bush and actually denying what is obvious, that is clear. I'm old enough to know this, and I have also experienced some of this. Sometimes when we tell people the kind of humiliations that we've been going through, but we still continue to move as if nothing is happening. If someone will pass through that, then there will be hell. But we've also just managed it. But let me take us fast forward to recent happening. Before the year 2000, we've had a lot of crises. The Zangon crisis, the other crisis, as they call it, the Matasine violence and killings. All this had religious undertone. A Kataf man will honestly tell you, despite the denial, how they used to humiliate them in Zango. You will walk to the market with your wife or your mother, and she will be raped or enter the corner and she will never come back. Such things have happened to us. We touch it, we feel it. But in 2000, Sharia was introduced, and all the Christians say, sorry, this is a secular country, this is a secular state. You don't introduce Sharia, a religious law, into us. It will cause us problems. They say, no. Sharia is not against Christians. Sharia is exclusively Muslim. And we say, sorry, we can read and write, and we've also studied this. According to Sharia law, a Muslim cannot convert to another faith, which means Sharia in the first place is anti-evangelism. And for those of us who are Christian, Christianity strives through evangelism. Because in Christian theology, if you give your life to Jesus Christ by 12 o'clock, anything that happens to you by 12, a second after 12 o'clock happens to a Christian. So imagine a Muslim who gives his life to Jesus Christ, and he's been tormented for 1 hour, tormented for 2 days, tormented for 1 month, tormented for 1 year, that he must renounce his faith. It's Christian persecution. So in order not to give room for anybody to stop anybody to freely decide the religion he wants to profess, we say no to Sharia because our laws are very clear. Our laws clearly state that there shall be no state religion. But Yerima Bakura blatantly disregarded that law and created Sharia, and other states in the north hide under that and call for Sharia. We contested that. Well, because of politics in Nigeria, we don't want to offend people. The government didn't want it to go to the extent of going to the Supreme Court because they know that the Constitution is very clear about that. If you don't know, I can tell you that in northern Nigeria, many of our Christian children who are in university, first, how to get admission to universities that are our catchment area, religion come to play. If I have 250 score and you have 190 and we want to read medicine, in simple terms, I should go on merit. But because I'm a Christian, I will not get admission on merit. The man with 190, 195 will get admission, and I don't have to study. They will just give me, go and read chemistry. And you ask yourself, what is this? Instead of reading the medicine of your dream. I said this is not about people's story. It affected me, my biological daughter. I have to fight before they now gave her dental BDS, which is Bachelor of Dental Surgery, and she ended up doing the MBBS. But Why did I need to fight? The fact that when I was engaging the vice chancellor and the former vice chancellor, they say, why didn't you come and tell us early? And I say, wait a minute. I have trained my children to do well in class, so I don't need to lobby to get admission for them. By virtue of being qualified, they should be given admission. Then my wife, the mother of my children, the love of my life, in Kaduna North local government was to just obtain what you call an indigent form. The lady who was sitting in charge of that form comes from Borno, but because she is a Muslim, she's qualified to work in Kaduna. She gave my wife a settler form or certificate. I went there and I protested before that form was changed. Then I asked myself, the other millions of Christians who cannot come and protest like me, what did they do? How did they do? So these are the kind of things. In ABU, Ahmadu Bello University, the university we are all proud of. Do you know that the church that was burnt in that university in 1987 and 1992 have not been rebuilt up to today? Personally, I've been to that school. We've sat to talk about the rebuilding of that church. No way. So that is the pattern almost in every university. You have 10 mosques, you have 20 mosques, but you hardly have a church. So our Christian students need to be jumping from one class to another every week just to pray. And we're talking about building morality of our children. And you decide that your children should behave well, know God and serve God, but my children should be wayward. And then you come again to public place and be accusing my children for doing wrong. Then you are the architect of it. What do you call persecution? I was old enough to know that there's a road from Kachia to Kaduna. If a vehicle picks you, the vehicle would deliberately, whether you are in a haste to meet up an appointment, stop somewhere that the person wants to pray. And I understand what the teachings of religion say about that, just to annoy you. So we've had these pains. But in 2000, they hide under Sharia, they killed thousands of our people. We buried them. It's not some people who do that. I'm part of those who buried them. The fact that of 2002 Miss World Beauty Pageant crisis, I was the only pastor that did the mass burial, because when they took us to a big thick bush, I was the only pastor who did the hundreds of people who died. So when we face this reality, and why were we being killed? We are not being killed because we failed exams. Neither were we being killed because we disobeyed the law of Nigeria. Our people were simply being killed because of our identity. Someone will look at you on the face. If you tell yourself that your name is John, he will say, we don't have John here. And I asked him, how don't you have John here? Why shouldn't you have John here? And John is a bona fide citizen of this country and an indigent of this state. Why would you have John? Is it promotion? Wow, that's another difficult thing. You can be on level 16 and someone on level 9 will be made your executive director. And you wonder, is that the way we run our system? That's why people don't even struggle, because they know by virtue of identity of religion, they can be promoted higher than you with all the books, with all the certificate, with all the experience you have. That's bullshit. So what do you call persecution? But if we go far, when Boko Haram came on a religious agenda. They came to ensure an Islamic country, an Islamic state, an Islamic identity. And they kill our pastors. In Borno State, the first killing that was so open by Boko Haram targeted at pastors. 3 of our pastors were killed. One pastor is called Pastor Oji. Oji came from Benue, but had lived in Maiduguri and started his church. I remember that when Oji was to be killed, when others were running, he just told them to tell his brothers that he died well. Because when Oji died, we didn't even see Oji's corpse. I went to Maiduguri several times that time to support his wife, who was pregnant, and within a short week, she gave birth to Esther. Esther is a grown-up girl now. I think Esther should be in the university as I'm speaking to you, because through one Reverend Laddie Thompson in Living Waters Unlimited Church in Anthony Village, we facilitated and moved Mrs. Oji from Borno to Lagos. I remember the first house we got for her was just near, Shell Camp, behind Deeper Life in Bagada, because I came to dedicate that house and she moves into that house. They killed Sylvester Osonebong. Sylvester Osonebong is from Akwa Ibom State, precisely from Airport Ikpene. I flew to Calabar, then there was no airport in New York, to go and bury Sylvester Osonebong. They killed Pastor Bitrus Yakubu. Pastor Bitrus is actually of Borno State, but he's a pastor of the Koken Church, that's Church of Christ in Nigeria, in all nations. Because his brother was the then medical director of the General Hospital in Maiduguri, he just took care of the wife and moved her from Maiduguri to Jos. And then the killings continue. The killings continue. The killings continue. Our current secretary in that state was killed. And these things keep continuing. It was later that the Boko Haram now felt, okay, any other Muslim who also disagree with what they are doing against Christians should be killed. So people wouldn't tell me that, no, the killing was Christians and Muslims. No, the killing was started with Christians, targeted at Christians, and only later went to Muslims who refused that identity. So when you look at this pattern and the years that it's been moving from one era to another, and the reasons they don't, then you will realize that some people have deliberately want to make sure that Christianity is silenced in Nigeria, Christianity is not being heard in Nigeria. See, I have ever said this to the Governors Forum and or to the Northern Senators Forum. They still have the tape. I remember that in that message I delivered, it was live on Nigerian TV. I told them that, do you know that because of the way you hate Christians, even northern governors, if a Christian of northern extraction in his state of origin sought to do contract, they will give you a contract of 5 million and ask 20 of you to be involved in that contract, so that the kind of profit margin you will have will not even buy you Omo. But they will prefer to give somebody elsewhere a contract of 500 million, he alone. Why? Because there's also to disempower us economically, deny us right educationally, and so on. So when we come out to protest, when we come out to cry, instead of paying attention to it, people are now making it as a competition. No, they also kill us. If your son burnt my house and I call you to tell you your son burnt my house, won't you commiserate with me, sympathize with me, and tell me, oh, you're sorry? You are now telling me he also burnt your house. Oh, are we in competition? It is about, I don't know why he burnt your house, but I know why he burnt my house. He burnt my house because I do not share his identity. He may have burnt your house because one of his siblings insulted him. So you can't bring your reason for burning your house and my reason to be the same. And we never sat as Christians to write petitions out there, but we were crying out, wanting Nigerian government to react, wanting to do what is expected of them, because the Constitution of Nigeria put the responsibility of protecting lives and properties of citizens in the hands of government. Can government look at me on the face and honestly tell me that we've not cried about this, we've not complained about this, we've not said about this? Then I will just fold my arms and say, please, Google it, and you will see my stories from 2000 or from 1999, 2000, because as at 1999, I was out already speaking about this. So nobody will tell me that these things didn't happen. They happen, and we face it. Our children get discouraged, but we keep teaching them that, look, in the Bible says, for God so loved the world. So if you want to be a true child of God, love everybody, including those who persecute you. It's not what I say, it's what the Bible says. And if I'm going to be a good Christian, I must obey what the Bible says. But I will also be a bad Christian if I deny that I'm not being persecuted, if I deny that certain of my rights are not being infringed, if I deny that I've not buried people that I know they are. These things are reality. I have always said, and I want to repeat in this conversation, that the major challenge and the reason why we've not been able to address this is the denial. The more you deny that you are sick, the doctor will not give you the right medication.
Thank you so much, Reverend Joseph. Honestly, this conversation opened my eyes beyond what we even hear, in the papers. I mean, you went as far back as almost 20 years ago and showed us even the economic implications to some Christians in the North. And honestly, I think you're very right with what he said about denial, because it's as though this is just resurfacing for people to just converse about. But this is a symptom that dates really far back. But we have to take a short break right now. And when we come back, my co-anchors have questions for you as well, so that we can uncover this beyond what we've even done. So our viewers, please stay with us. We'll be right back very soon. Welcome back, viewers. We've been discussing the alleged Christian persecution, and we've been joined by, the amazing Mr. Reverend Joseph Hayab. Honestly, this conversation is one that has been eye-opening, because he has let us to see that the major problem that we have is the denial that many people face. Because sometimes this kind of conversations can come up when, there are recent updates to it. But dating far back, primarily religious persecution has been so prevalent in the north. And yes, of course, it could also be a symptom of a wider security collapse. But we've seen much more how we shouldn't live in denial if we are looking for a long-lasting solution. I'm sure Reverend is still with us, but I'll be passing the mic now to my co-anchor to ask her question.
Thank you.
All right, Reverend, you've laid such a foundation on the Christian persecution. It's the fact that you've witnessed this yourself and you've experienced it. Now, my question is, what do you think is, right for the president of another country to intervene in this growing insecurity in Nigeria as regards the killing? I'm talking about President Donald Trump. He said something about coming to intervene. Now, what do you think about it? Do you think it's right for him to come and intervene since our government, they are incapable of doing anything about it? What do you think about it? I would like to know your opinion.
I think the hypocrisy of the political class is so funny. I remember in 2013, when the opposition party came into coalition to unseat Jonathan. They traveled around this country. They went to Chatham House. They went to America. They went everywhere saying things are not going on well in Nigeria. What is wrong if they had, and actually the American government intervened. If not because of the intervention, they wouldn't have won elections. So recently, just about a few days ago, when the old party was also having a crisis, the PDP, and they went out and also said, look, they are calling on the international community to come and see what is happening to them. You see, this is where there's a problem. If, for political reason, you have problem, you are calling the international community to come and help you. And we, because of our religious identity, we are having problem. And the international community do not even wait for us to say they can see it, and they don't want us to perish and say, look, we want to bring this to a stop, and you are worried. I listened to Trump very well, and I read all his comments. There's already a twisting of what Trump said just to confuse people, because I think what started was, go out and tell Muslims that, no, Trump is coming to kill Muslims. Trump never said he's coming to kill Muslims. Trump is saying, Mr. President, it is your responsibility to deal with terrorists in your country. But if you fail to deal with them and they continue, we'll have no option than to send our men to come and deal with those terrorists. Someone will say, no, Reverend, you don't know the American antecedent. In America, once you see them interested, they have a hidden agenda. And I asked him this question: what is your own agenda against me? If your agenda against me and my people has been to exterminate us, to alienate us, to destroy us, to weaken us, why? I've already experienced worse problem on your hand. So why are you thinking I'm going to be afraid of another intervention? So that's why it is important that in the first place, treat people right. In the first place, respect others. In the first place, honor others. In the first place, stand with others. So that when issues come like this, we can together say, no, we will solve our problem. But you've not actually treated me right. No, you've not even seen me as a citizen. The fact of the matter is that you are just thinking I am an intruder in the country called Nigeria. I suppose not to exist. You do things with impunity as if nothing happened. Even when I report you to government, government is afraid to act. You come to our land, you take over our land, you chase our children out, you rape our women. It is not a story we want to tell, because when you start saying this, the pens just come back. I told people the other day that I remember in 2000, I invited one Pastor Nirin. Pastor Nirin is Victor Nirin is a retired soldier, to come and preach in my church. That man taught my leader. He did a workers' retreat for us on Saturday and ended up with the preaching on Sunday. But on Monday, when this whole madness came up, he was killed, burnt to become like a small baby. We actually carried his corpse in a mattress. When I said this a week ago in one of the media houses, I didn't know that a lawyer who was a member of his church had me. The next day he called me and said, Pastor, you make me shed tears yesterday because you remind me the way we went and picked our pastor. So these are stories we know, and I've not seen that lawyer in the past 15 years. But he just had to look for my number and say, you reminded me because I know what happened. These things happen to us, not to people we don't know. I know a lot, but I just want to talk about the ones that really directly affects me so that it does not become one of those stories. I'm speaking about what I saw, what I touched, what I experienced. Our seminary in Kao was burnt down completely. What was the sin of the seminary? Because it was a Christian institution. It took us years to rebuild, and now we are making effort to relocate because we don't know whether there will be another problem in the future. So there are so many things that have been happening. So if a nation realizes that we are getting out of hand and evil is growing in our land and is asking us to take care of it, if we don't take care of it, they can help to come and take care of it, and we start complaining and diverting attention into something. What is sovereignty when your citizens are dying? I respect Nigerian sovereignty. The fact about it is that in the beginning of this conversation, I came up publicly and said, I wish the American government do not put Nigeria on country of particular concern, or if they must, then they should not put sanction on buying weapons or put economic sanction, because at the end, it's the poor Nigerian masses that will suffer. The bourgeois will continue to fly. At the end, it is the Nigerian army or military that will not have weapons, and the bandits will still have access to weapons. But you see, there are so many other things attached to CPC more than just these two things I've talked about. But I have to explain my concern and cry out. Since it is here, why don't we face the reality? Look, it is just a wake-up call for our government to say, people have been killed. It is true, people have been killed. People have been abused in this country. It is true, people have been abused. But from today, we draw a line. No Nigerian should be disrespected in this country. No Nigerian should be denied his right in this country. And anybody who tried that, we will evoke our laws on him. And any judge who turns that to be sentiment will also evoke our laws on him. Every security personnel who is asked to arrest perpetrators of this evil and he failed to, will evoke our laws on him. Then someone will sit up and know that the game is over. But what we are doing now is that we are trying to talk about sovereignty. What is our sovereignty? Well, in reality, our people are dying. What happened to Rwanda? That Rwanda had the case of genocide was everybody was thinking of sovereignty, sovereignty, sovereignty. Before the world knew, people have been killed. And we don't even want that to reach that level. So why don't we stop it now? So sovereignty is there, which we acknowledge, but sovereignty cannot overplay the place of the safety of the people. The safety of the people is the sovereignty. What even makes us sovereign? Because the people are one and agree and are together. But where the people are not happy, the people are pained, the people are killed, what is our sovereignty? Sovereignty of some to survive and others to die? I think let's be coining these stories in such a way that, let's stop doing it in such a way that others will feel, oh, so you don't care whether we are killed? We want to survive. We want to contribute to nation building, but we cannot contribute when we are not given the space. We cannot contribute when every day we live in fear. We cannot contribute. Look, for someone like me to be saying what I'm saying, I'm actually saying it out of courage. How many of our colleagues will do that? If not Dachomo and Co recently that are saying it. Some people will even call me and say, you know what will happen to you? And I said, there's only one life. You say it, you die. You don't say it, you still die.
What's the point of sovereignty when the people are not one? When the pain is everywhere? This is just so much. This is a whole lot. There's a way I am feeling right now that is quite sad, because this pain is actually the painful reality of a lot of families, a lot of people in every corner or in most corner of Nigeria, especially when you come to the northern areas. Now, if all these pains, all these things that you have mentioned, that you have talked about, these things are happening, beyond the things that we see, you have experienced a lot of things firsthand, some of the things that you have mentioned. But it completely shatters my heart when I hear the Foreign Affairs Minister coming out to say on international TV that the only death that has been recorded in the past 5 years is just 117. This is totally different from what you're saying right now. You would not, nobody would admit or nobody would believe that you are talking like this, and then the Foreign Affairs Minister was talking the way he was talking on national TV. And it feels like there is a wide gap between the official numbers, because let us not forget that what is said on the international TV is what feels like the truth, because we are also hearing it from the Foreign Affairs Minister. Now, there is a lot of, the gap is really wide between the official numbers and the painful reality of the people that are having to experience this? How do you see like this discrepancy that is happening right now?
Well, I have tremendous respect for the Minister of Foreign Affairs, but also disappointment. Why I'm disappointed is one. In just 9 months, or let's say in 12 months, the killing in Mangu had over 200. Recorded by Nigerian fact finders. The killing in Bokos had almost 150. Recorded by Nigerian fact finders. The killing in Yelwata had over 200. If with all this, let me just use these three and don't go to others, and the man is still calling 190 something, then either he was sleeping on duty or he deliberately wanted to twist fact. So just 1 year, just 1 year, just 1 year, and the number of churches burned. I can't even understand why he would say that. You see, this is the reason why some of our leaders bring disrespect to us as citizens of this country. I've traveled out of this country and I see how they look at us as liars. Because when you come out, you want to say something, be careful before you say what people will just laugh at you and just know that now. Because someone will just sit down and go, but there was a crisis in June in Benue. How many people were killed? Over 200. There was a crisis around the Christmas time and early in the year in Plateau. How many people were killed? Over 350. Don't talk about the other small one. So you can see this has already disputed his number, because when you put this figure I have used with his number, that figure is ×3. So why will he lie? Why will he say that? I can give you one example. When one of the serving people in government had a conversation with the foreign media, and the foreign media told them that from their record, over 18,000 churches have been burnt in Nigeria. And the person responded by saying, Nigerians do not even have 18,000 churches. So how can 18,000 churches be burnt? I called him personally. I put it up to him. I said, sir, I read this, your document. It has not been published, but I've been asked to confirm whether it is true. Let me give you a simple logic. The Baptist Church, that is the Nigerian Baptist Convention, the church I belong, we have over 11,200 churches across Nigeria. I didn't bring Redeem. I didn't bring Living Faith. I did not include Equa, that is almost in every village in my area. I do not include EYN. I did not include Cooking. I did not bring Anglican, Methodist. Then to talk about all other churches, Living Faith and others that you know. What makes you think like that? But I later realized the error. There is a deliberate twist of churches number in Nigeria. If you Google Wikipedia, you will be shocked to see that the Google is telling you that there are around 16,700 and something churches in Nigeria. Well, Reverend Hayab knows that there are over 150,000 local church assemblies in Nigeria. So those facts are twisted for some reasons when issues like this come up. And I'm happy that the man acknowledged that, yes, Pastor, you are right. Because if your church alone have that number, then we have over 18,000 churches. We have over 100 and something thousand churches. And so if 18,000 churches have been burned, it is possible. Now, these are the facts we have to put on ground, because people just keep saying things that they don't know. And I think they are not even helping the government. If they are going to help this government, I have advised that the best way to help this government is to acknowledge truth, and then say there's a commitment by this government to remedy the wrongs. But when you again go in your effort to help your government and you lie, then you have completely put yourself in the eyes of the people that you don't have truth to tell. That's why, despite the explanation that is coming from quarters, a lot of groups are sent out to distort the fact. Nothing has changed. It still remains truth that Christians have been killed. It still remains true that Christians have been persecuted. It still remains true that Christians have not been treated right in northern part of Nigeria. It still remains true that Christians have been turned to second-class citizens in their country. And this is what we want to see stop. We want to be treated as citizens of Nigeria. I've told people I don't care. I don't need to have a house or a car or anything. I just want to have that freedom and the right to move about. I can work to earn a living. I can live, if I'm free, to do things that even those who have privilege may not even get it. So, but once you now suppress me, you don't want me to grow, you don't want my children to grow, you don't want my identity to be known, if I don't fight it back, I am even actually my own culprit. So what the Christians are simply saying is that what is happening is real. Stop it. And who should stop it? Government. If we want to stop it ourselves, we can stop it, but we'll be taking the laws into our hands and it will become too fighting. We are not fighting with anybody. We are simply asking, respect our right, protect us, allow us live, and don't cause us harm. What is the joy? Every year or every time you are burying pastors. You are burying. Look, even the bandits that we are kidnapping, whenever they kidnap Christians, the torture we receive in their hands used to be horrible. I was the county chairman of Kaduna State. At the time, they took away 121 children from our school. I know what we went through. I remember in one of our church in Kaduna, they came and picked about 55 people one Sunday. I know what we went through. When they went, they selected the able men out of them and asked them to come home as if they were escorting them home. When they were near home, they opened fire on them. At that time, it was not killing Christians and Muslims. They were out for us. In one Assemblies of God's church, I know how they treated the people. They packed them, about 48 of them, and went. Only 20 came back. So you can't be facing this kind of thing and you don't talk about it. Look, if you even remove the Christian identity, is it right for citizens to be killed?
Not at all.
Killing of citizens itself is also a violation.
Honestly, we have to wrap up this conversation. When you were speaking right now, you mentioned that we can't take up, the solution. Like, we can't become violent in that sense. And I remember a particular faith-based commentator, Solomon Butch, I don't know if you know him. On Instagram, he gave a very bold comment. He said at this point, maybe Christians should start having guns. And I was a bit shocked. But of course, he was speaking from a preventive strategy point of view. And I believe that in the Christian faith, we are not taught that way. We don't see, the Beatitude. The Christian faith generally takes the side of peace, the side of, joy, and the side of loving one another. But I'm wondering, what kind of preventive strategies do you think that the church, even CAN themselves, can begin to, use in the coming days? Because at this point, community-based protection is now looking like what we could even hold on to before we wait for the intervention that we don't know is coming. What do you have to say about this as we wrap up the conversation?
You see, Satan has his way of making people to love violence, to love evil, to embrace evil. As a pastor, I've been pastoring for over 32 years now. I don't want to help Satan to promote violence. I instead want to shame Satan to show love, because the Christian theology teaches that greater love has no man than this, for one to lay down his life for his friend. And in Jesus' teaching, he said, the greatest of all commandments is to love your neighbor as yourself after loving God. So I must continue to give Christianity that testimony. I will give that witness. I'm not going to compromise because someone is offending me. But there's also something we can do. One is to ask our government to wake up. And what have happened recently is we calling on our government to wake up, and then the American government and other international communities adding their voice to call our government to wake up. Because why are we a state? Why are we a country? So that we'll have a government who will have law and orders. The Bible teaches us as Christians to respect every governing authority. When we start fighting for ourselves, not asking our government to fight for us, there will be more confusion and people will think it is Christian-Muslim fighting. Absolutely. Don't forget that this fight is not Christian-Muslim. And that's what I'm actually worried, that we are making it look like a Christian-Muslim thing. No. Some people came in the name of Islam and kill your neighbor. If you are a good Muslim and my friend, tell them that this is my brother, this is my neighbor, don't kill him, because Islam do not encourage that. But when you say, no, I shouldn't even mention that, then I have concern, because the man actually came in the name of Islam. But I didn't say that they met at a meeting and Muslims say, go and kill them. No, but he came in the name of Islam. Look, just pause and count the many terrorist groups that we have. You conclude that they come with an Islamic ideology. They come with a religious ideology. They want to insist that people must do it their own way and no one. Can someone just give me one Christian terrorist group? If not the one you are claiming and saying that does not exist. So what we are saying, there is a way out. Government, wake up. Then in our own role as CAN and as Christian leaders, we will continue to engage our Muslim counterpart in constructive dialogue. As I'm speaking to you, in the next few minutes, I'm actually going to a mosque for a conversation around this in a mosque. Just once I finish talking to you, why we must talk about this until when we start saying truth to ourselves, acknowledging truth among ourselves and doing it. And I'm happy that there are a lot of Muslim leaders who are speaking out now and saying, yeah, we did wrong. Some people use our name and did what was wrong. Our preachers will go out there and say, go and kill them. We didn't query them. We didn't rebuke them. We thought they were doing good. Now it has turned into fire and we are trying to twist the story. So I believe that like in every group, you have good people and bad people. There are wonderful people among our Muslim colleagues, and we are working with them. We will show government that there's a way out about it, but government must also show leadership by acting responsibly. But there's another part of it. This conversation we are doing today should become a strong advocacy in school and other places so that future generation will not even want to be identified with this kind of story. Yes. You see, we allow these things to go too long to the extent that children grow up and begin to see others as their enemies. Children grow up to begin to see others as if they are not their friends. So when they have opportunity, all they are looking for opportunity to do is to destroy the others or to settle scores with the others. We must fight it and correct it. And government, through the National Orientation Agency or whatever agency that is responsible in educating people, must bring such kind of knowledge to public discourse and say, look, a responsible citizen protects his fellow citizen. A responsible citizen defends his fellow citizen. A responsible citizen supports his fellow citizen. But when you start thinking bad of a fellow citizen, then your patriotism and your citizenship has a question mark. Let's teach people to know this. I don't want my daughter to hate someone who is not of our faith. Neither do I want my son to hate someone who is not of our faith. And I want my colleague to also tell his children not to hate me because of my faith or to hate my children because of their faith. After all, we all need each other to grow. Communities that we run to today in Europe, America, what makes them what they are is the different colors that they have. Yes. But we just come here and think it must be we or never. It doesn't work. Why is Lagos something unique for Nigeria? Because in Lagos, you have everything. Other states must learn that. Other states must learn that. There's nothing unique in Lagos apart from the ability to expand. Yes, some people used to come with drama, but at least the larger population there will say, look, this is Lagos. Yes. Stop that drama.
You've spoken so well, Reverend Joseph Hayab. Thank you for this conversation. As we end this conversation, one truth stands out. Too many lives have been cut short and too many communities are living in fear. This crisis demands honesty, compassion, and of course, real action. And we cannot look away or act in denial. Thank you, Reverend Joseph, for joining our conversations. And we hope that next time, when we're talking about this, we'll be recounting the action and the positive step that has been taken. To my ladies, thank you for joining. To our viewers, thank you for staying with us. We'll catch you again tomorrow with another update. Goodbye. Have a great day.